Okay, so in this video, we're going to go over the review for 1.4 to 1.5. So you can try to do the review on your own and then check back with the video, or you can do the review with the video. So do whichever way you think you're going to understand the material best. Okay, let me start to share my screen. Okay, so here's our review. So the first question says, name 4 angles in the diagram using proper notation. So when I say proper notation, oh, here, hold on a second. I'm going to put this in if I get this into Notability. Hold on one second. Maybe we'll just go along. Here we go. We'll just go along with this. Let's see. Yeah, let me, hang on. I'm just going to open Notability so I can use all of that good stuff there. So you go ahead and read what you see in front of you, and I will open Notability in the meantime. Okay, thank you for your patience. Okay, so here, name 4 angles. So I'm going to start from the angle ABC. So here's angle ABC. Then I'm going to say CBD, angle CBD. Then I'm going to say angle DBC, angle DBC. And then I'm going to say angle ABE, which is the 180-degree angle. That's a straight angle. Okay, another thing. I could also have included, they just said 4. There are more angles here. Look at angle angle. Okay, so what you should notice for each of my angles, I have a vertex of B. That should be your big takeaway. Okay, your vertex has to be in the middle. So those of you that sometimes confuse that point, when you're checking your work, make sure that your vertex is in the middle. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. So this says in the diagram, BD bisects ABC. So the second you see that BD is bisecting, then that means that this angle, which is 40, has to equal this angle. So this one has to be 40. Number one thing, the second you see bisects, you have to remember that it divides into 2 equal angles. All right, that's very, very important. Okay, they ask us to find X. If I know that, well, we're do my 2-step problem, I get 4x equals 20, divide by 4, divide by 4, I have x equals 5. Boom. Now, measure of angle CBD, which angle is that? That's the one we just solved for. So this is CBD right here. Now, I know it's 40 degrees because I know that it has to be the same measure as angle ABD. Okay, so I could go ahead and put 40 degrees in there and be confident that that's correct. I also could have taken the 20 plus 4 times 5 and gotten 40 that way just to affirm the fact that my X calculation was correct. So I could have done that too. Okay, now they're asking for angle ABC. So angle ABC is this big one. Okay, so CBD, let me just do that over here. That's the blue one. So the big guy, he's going to be twice, he's going to be 2 times the 40s, or 40 plus 40. In any event, you're going to get 80 degrees. Okay, done. Okay, let's move on to these. Now these are from the material in 1.5. Okay, so they're asking you identify angles that are complementary, supplementary, or vertical, and then find the value of x. You have two things to do. So make sure at the end of your work that you've done both things. So the first problem, I'm looking at that and I'm seeing this big old angle. That makes it a straight angle. So this is a straight angle, but that's not one of my choices. So what else could I call it? I could call it supplementary because I know straight angles have 180 degrees. So the angles on them have to be supplementary. Okay, since I know it has to be 180, I'm going to take 180 minus 118. And when I do that, I get 62 degrees. And that's my value for x. Okay, let's go to the next one. Look what I have here. I have a vertical arrow going up, a vertical ray going up, and one going horizontal. When that happens, a special angle is formed, and that special angle is marked with a box many times. That special angle is a right angle. Let me do that darker box. Okay, this is a right angle. If it's a right angle, then the two angles that compose that right angle have to be complementary. Okay, and to get your x value, you're going to say 90 minus 75, and you're going to get 15. So your x is 15. Okay, so we've taken care of two problems here. Okay, the next one I see looks like a vertical angle. How come I know that? Because the rays that comprise it, so here's this ray, here's its opposite ray. Still looking at the angle to the right, here's that ray, so the green and the blue make up the angle to the right, as does the green and the blue make up the angle to the left. Therefore, you know that those two angles are vertical. Vertical angles are forever and ever congruent. So these are vertical angles. And what I need to now do is solve for the x. Since they are vertical, they will always be equal. So set these two angles equal. Subtract the 2x from both sides. That gives me 3x equals 24. This is a simple two-step problem. So x equals 8, and that's what I put there. Okay, first page done. Now, if I'm going too quickly and you're not able to take all this in, I want you to hit that pause button, okay? Because you want to be able to use this so that you understand the material. And you're going to need to have a little time to process it. That is perfectly normal. So take that time so that you're really using this to prepare for the quiz, which will be next class. Okay, so look at these. Look at this figure. They're telling us find the measure of angles 1, 2, and 3 and explain your reasoning. Okay, so I'm going to highlight again. I see a ray here. This is a ray on this side. I now see a ray here, and this one's on that side. So the two angles that are made by the green and the blue rays are vertical. Okay, so I can say that angle 2 equals 43 degrees because it is vertical with the 43-degree angle. Okay, what else do I know? So why don't I erase that highlighting and let's do another highlighting. I can see that this is a line. Okay, so if it helps you to put these arrowheads in, because they kind of got cut off, go ahead and put them. That's a line. On that line, I see I have two angles. Can you see the two angles right there? So those two angles are supplementary. So I'm going to say angle 1 and angle that has 43 degrees are supplementary. Okay, that's my abbreviation for supplementary. So to get angle 1, I'm going to say 180 minus 43, and that's going to equal, if I did the math, 137. Okay, so right here, this is going to equal 137. All right, on that same line, do you see you have another pair? Here's another pair of angles that are supplementary because they're on the same line. So they're a linear pair. What do I know about angle 2 already? So I knew that that's going to be 43 degrees. Okay, so I can say that angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary. And so I'm going to say 180 minus 43, and I'm going to get 137 again. So angle 3 is 137. Now look what else we know. Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles, and therefore they're equal for that reason. So I could have gone down that road. So in any event, I can get all of the angles if they give me just one angle, and I can see how the other ones are related. Okay, so then they say identify a pair of linear angles. Well, angle 2 and angle 3 are linear. They're on the same line. Angle 3 and the 43 degrees are on the same line. Angle 1 and the 43 degrees are on the same line. And angle 2 and angle 1 are on the same line. So any of those pairs would be sufficient for an answer. Okay, so we're going to keep our focus on 1.5, and here comes the next topic. So it says, looking to the figure to the right, name the angles indicated. Okay, so they want vertical angles. I'm going to get my highlighter out. Here is a line. Here's another line. Which angles are made up of those two rays, those two sets of rays? So it looks like this angle and this angle, and they are vertical angles. Okay, highlighting the way I did really helps them pop out to you. Otherwise, they can be kind of hard to see. Okay, so we have to name these, and this time we're going to name them with letters. So that's ADF, so angle ADF, and the other one is angle EDB. And notice that for all of these angles, D is our vertex. Okay, moving on. Complementary angles. Angle EDB, so EDB, what is that complementary to? Well, complementary means right angle. And so what I know is that this is a right angle right here. And so that means the complement of EDB has to be EDC. So angle EDC. Okay, supplementary. Supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so, and they have to be on a straight line if they're going to add to 180. So let's look at this. EDB, same angle. What is that on a straight line with? I think we have to go with the bottom line. So that's on a straight line with FDB. So let me erase some of my colors here. Okay, so this is what they're telling me. Our focus is on EDB, and notice this. Here's EDB. Here are the two angles that are supplementary. Okay, that's how I got that. Okay, all adjacent angles. So I'm going to start from ADC. So angle ADC, I'm going to go to the right, is adjacent to the angle next door, CDE. Okay, then start from CDE. That's adjacent. So I'm going to do this with a little highlighting just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so what did I say? So I'm going down the pike here. So here's CDE. CDE, what's that adjacent to? Well, how about this one over here? Now, do I need another letter? Let me just see one thing. Yes, I think I'm going to need another letter. So I'm going to add a letter to this. So when you see this, you're probably going to see letter G right there. Okay, so what's that adjacent to? So CDE is adjacent to EDB. And then we have EDB. EDB is adjacent to BDG. Keep going. BDG is adjacent to, and I have to put, I've lost my head here. I'm going to go back and put my little angle symbols. So this is what you want to be doing too. Okay, angle BDC. So I'm over here. So I have, so hold on a second. Lost my head again. Where was I up to? BD, I was up to BDG. So then once again, BDG is adjacent to GDF, and GDF is adjacent to FDA. Okay, so I named a whole bunch of adjacent angles. So I just went around the circle. When I came full circle, I was done with my pairing. So we should probably talk briefly about adjacent. Adjacent share a common side, and they also have a common vertex, and they're not inside one another. Okay, so that's what is defined as adjacent. So look at these angles that I've picked out and make sure you understand how I'm saying that they're adjacent. Okay, now this is an interesting question. It says find the value of all the angles if angle EDB is 30 degrees. So EDB is 30. So I'm going to start filling things in. If this is 30, then the vertical angle opposite it has to be 30 as well. Okay, so I'm seeing that CDE is complementary to that 30-degree angle. Therefore, that has to be 60. If that's 60, this is vertical, that has to be 60. The box tells me it's 90. And if this is 90 up top, this has to be 90 down below. So I'm not going to have you list out those. I'm just going to have you list them on the diagram. So I'm going to say C diagram. Now, what should happen? The diagram takes us all around a circle. So if you add up all those angles, okay, so every quadrant is 90 degrees. So these are 90 over here. Okay, this whole quadrant's 90. This quadrant's 90. 90 again, and 90 the fourth time. That makes 90 times 4, which is 360. And that's the number of degrees in a circle. And we went around in a circle. So that's how I'm getting the number, the degrees I'm getting. Okay, now we're talking about some more vocab. Here's complementary. Find the measure of a complement of each of these angles. So if, so we'll set up this one. To find the complement, they have to add up to 80. So just subtract, you get 22 degrees. Here again, they have to add up to 80, subtract 10 degrees. Here again, adding up to 90, I think I said 80, adding up to 90, this is 87 degrees. Okay, so as long as you know the definition of a complement, you should be able to easily get those points. Okay, so I'm going to change one thing, and the change will be made before you see this, but this is going to be supplement. Okay, if angles are supplements, they're going to add up to 180. So I'm going to say 180 minus 78, and that should be 102 degrees. 180 minus 155, and that should get me 25 degrees. And then 180 minus 1 degree gets me 179 degrees, and those problems are taken care of. Okay, so know your definitions. That's going to be the key to your success. Use the following figure to answer problems 10 through 12. Okay, so look what I have here. They're focusing my attention on angle DOE. So here's angle DOE. Okay, name two supplementary angles to DOE. All right, so look at this. Let's put ourselves on the green line. If we're on the green line, then the other angle that's supplementary is angle AOE. So these two angles added together give me 180. So that's one of the ways you can look at it. Let me erase what I have here. Okay, and then we'll highlight once again the angle that we're looking at. The angle is DOE. And I'm going to select a different line this time. How about this line? If they're on that line together, then here are the supplemental angles, and the angle that's supplementary to COD will be DOE. So DOE is the other one, and it's an angle, so I put my angle symbol. Okay, so let's erase those marks. And now let's look at the next question. Name a pair of complementary angles. Complementary add up to 90. So looking over here, I see I have 90 degrees. And I see I have two angles, this angle and then this angle. So those angles are complementary. Write them down with their letters. This is BOC and COD, and we are done. Okay, once again, get rid of those markings. Okay, and now read the next one. Name a pair of vertical angles. Well, I know that vertical angles happen where lines cross. Let me pick this line, and then I'll pick this line. So look at the angles that are made up of those lines. I've got this one and I've got this one. Those are my verticals. So hopefully you're starting to pick out verticals. That's AOE and angle COD. Those are verticals. Okay, last two questions, and we've gone through the whole review. Angles A and B are complementary. Okay, here's A, here's B, and they are complementary. What's the measure of each angle? Okay, so think about what you're going to do. You know they're complementary, they have to add up to 90. Excuse me. Yeah, add up to 90. I was correct. So 3x minus 8 is the first angle. First angle plus the second angle has got to be 90. Combine like terms. I have 3x and a 5x. That's 8x. I have a negative 8 and a positive 10. That's plus 2. This has to equal 90. Subtract 2 from both sides. I get 8x equals 88. Divide both sides by 8. I get x equal 11. Now that's nice to know, but that is not the answer to my question, right? They want to know what is angle A and angle B's measurements. So I have to do more work here. So angle A equals 3 times x. Well, x was 11, and then minus 8. So 3 times 11 is 33, and then take away 8 from that, and you should be getting 25. So angle A equals 25. Okay, so let's do angle B. Angle B equals 5 times x, and x was 11, plus 10. 5 times 11 is 55, plus 10 equals 65. So these are our answers, and if you add them together, what we should definitely see is that they are complementary. Added together, they equal 90 degrees. That verifies what they told us about those two angles. Okay, last problem, we got this. These two angles are supplementary. That means they're going to add up to 180 degrees. Here's one, here's the other. So you're going to add those guys together and figure out what the x is, because our job once more is to find the measure of each angle. So here we go. 4x plus 9 plus 8x plus 3 has to be, what do we say? Supplementary, has to add up to 180 degrees. I took each angle's value and I added it to the other one, and that's how I'm going to figure out what x is, and then I'll use x to get my angles. So that's my roadmap. Okay, 4x plus 8x gives me 12x, and 9 plus 3 also gives me 12 with no x. Okay, so I'm going to subtract away 12 from both sides. When I do that, I get 168 over here, and I get 12x. Divide by 12, divide by 12, and I'm getting x equals what, 14. Okay, again, good to know, but I'm not done. Why don't we work above the problem? So the measure of angle Q equals 4 times x, and x is 14, plus 9. So do that math, and you should end up with 65. The measure of angle R is 8 times 14, and then that's plus 3, and that should get you 115. And we're looking at the two of those together. That gives me 180, so I know I'm correct. They are supplementary angles. Okay, I'm going to box off that so that I can see my two values. Okay, that's the review. I would absolutely suggest that you go through this a couple of times. Make sure that you own mind reasoning. Make sure that reasoning makes sense to you. If not, you want to reach out to me. You also have other resources. You have your textbook, you have your notes, you have all of that. So you have the homework from the other day that I did the video for. So there's lots of resources. Take advantage of all of them and aim to be very, very successful on the quiz. Thank you for listening.